This is Sangy Davis. It's time for the lion to Ika. For unity is strength. Let us come together, my brethren and sisters, and forward to the motherland. Enough love. And this is the lion's voice.
Haile.
Ja.
RasTafari.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with RasTafari.
But I thought today, as we prepare for the coronation season, part of our job as Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media is to sound the trumpet and to remind the global family this is a preparation time, because this war, yes, they're managing the escalation ladder, but know that the ladder is going to continue to rise. It's going to plunge the earth into a level of darkness, because, you know, when they start hitting the oil installations, the fuel, Straits of Hormuz closed down. We did an episode where we talk about that. It's going to have major ramification, de-dollarization, the collapse of the US dollar. There's certain things that are being maneuvered on the chessboard that we as Rastafari have to prepare. We can't be naive or think that we're immune because we're Rastafari, better than everyone, and we all right because we know His Majesty. We can know His Majesty and still be in a judgment if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean? If you're not, and there's no collective plan or strategy to endure, because food have to eat, and if you don't have access to food, it don't matter where you name. You know what I mean? So this is why we preach food security, farming, agriculture, all these things on this platform. And this is why we're working in these areas, you know. But I want to, again, I want to just go on this episode. Let us review the prophecy of Yeshua, see if we can see the parallels where this thing is going. If it makes sense, if it don't make sense, we can comment down in the comments. But again, Ethiopia to I is the guiding light. His Majesty is the lawgiver, and the lawgiver is the defender of the faith of Yeshua, and has also pointed us that this, you know what I mean, that His glory is in the Bible, and that this, you know, shall be a rallying point for humanity. So
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak, and caused all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's new matrix. It's a new world order. Them start bleaching, diverse doctrine, them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching, they're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's new slave ship.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, EmpressMenen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan African Happy Man, a creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion's Voice, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Today, we're talking about escalation, World War III vibration. We've been watching the global chessboard, and we see that Israel has just launched a bombing strike against Iran. Iran had launched a strike against Israel October 1st. Israel said them I got licked back. Israel launched a strike. So we're seeing the escalation. We've been talking about this for a while. Here on the Lion Voice Network, we maintain World War III has already started, and that we are just watching the continued escalation of the conflict. What does that mean for I and I as Rastafari? This is what we want to really talk about. I don't see too many Rastafari platforms talking about the Middle East, talking about Ukraine, even the wars on the continent, Congo, Sudan, what's happening in the Sahel region. Here on the Lion Voice, we feel it's our responsibility to just touch these things. I'm going to be going more in depth on Patreon. We have to be very careful, very sensitive what we say on YouTube and mainstream platforms. We're building a network infrastructure here, creative ecosystem, multi-tiered, multi-platform. We don't just depend on one platform, that we champion direct-to-consumer relationship. So we will be launching another video platform. I have more information on that, and we'll be doing exclusive deep dive geopolitical content on the Patreon where we can reason more freely, because I watch these things and I love to reason according to that and the prophecy, because coming into the faith as a young Ras, one of the things that I love was sitting at the feet of the elders and how they would break down the modern nations, who they were from ancient time, the bloodlines, and then relate it forward to the prophecy. So I never come out of that reality and that fullness, and everything that the elders say, I'm watching unfold. You know what I mean? Everything that was written, I'm watching it unfold. And if the item know Ethiopia, the item would know that Ethiopia is the land of Yeshua, Jesus Christos. The West, they call him Jesus. I don't like the Jesus sound. I feel like it's a colonized sound, so I never say Jesus, but Yeshua is someone I always pay tremendous attention, because His Majesty points us to Yeshua. He's the defender of the faith of Yeshua. He trod, within the light of Yeshua, things. So, I always connect forward to Yeshua. So, as this conflict is taking place with Israel, Iran, threatening to engulf, because we know Israel is really trying to bring down the Armageddon war. And we've talked about it on the channel, the rebuilding of the third temple of Solomon, all these things. I'm going to go more in depth. As I say, I have to be very careful on YouTube what we talk about, because YouTube algorithm was censored, deprioritize, all kind of things. So we don't want to go too in depth on the platform. We'll do that on the Patreon, have some more in-depth reasoning, because I feel right now is a preparation time. I'm going to take this episode, we're going to touch into some prophecy, and I want the items see if there's any connection. Let's have that reasoning. I know some of I family burn the Bible, that's alright too, but I want to look and see, is it instructive? Remember that Ethiopia run off of the biblical narrative, and Ethiopia is the only African nation never been conquered or colonized. So I look at that in terms of a roadmap of the liberation. At the Battle of Adwa, all the tribes came together under the Solomonic throne of King David. So the liberation of Africa is inextricably tied to the biblical narrative. If you're going by history, no, if you're going by feelings, you know what I mean? Anything you can say, you want to say. I don't argue that part. I try to just stick to the history, what's proven. And when we look at the historical record, we scour the African continent during the scramble for Africa. We see that the ultimate victory was secured by Menelik II, who sat on what he claimed was the throne of King David, King Solomon. There were no other claimants on the creation at that time. This happens to be the same throne that His Majesty sat on, who also claimed I being on the throne of David, to which I was betrothed, if you know that famous coronation. And let me just say before we go any further, we're in coronation season. So we're going to have a whole slew of programming here on the Lion Voice Network around the coronation, King and the Queen. This Wednesday, our guests, we're going to go deep dive into the coronation, Rasabona. So check it, stay tuned for that. I'm trying to line up some surprise guests to do some more programming around the coronation, the grand coronation. We also have the anniversary of development of RasTafari celebrating 20 years. Also the coronation event celebrating the works of our elders here in the District of Columbia. We'll have more on that. A lot happening. But as I was even preparing the coronation programming, I'm looking and I see this attack by Israel, and I said, you know what, let me talk about this in the context, because His Majesty ascending the throne in 1930 is not in a vacuum. Because at that time, the world was coming out of a period called the Roaring Twenties, which was a period of growth, period of industrialization, on an epic scale, and then everything dropped out the bottom, and the world descended into one of the greatest depressions, the Great Depression, financial collapse, 1930s, and this coincided with the crowning, the Black King come again. I believe that it was fear that, redemption time, the nation trembled. And then 5 years later, we have the invasion. The beast shall make war against the Lamb, because between 1930, 1935, Ethiopia started on a rapid development, and black people from all over the world were trying to rally into Ethiopia. It was a beacon of light during the colonial period. So it had to be stamped out. The Vatican stepped up, it's like Thanos in the Marvel universe, when Thanos comes and grab the infinity gauntlet and say, I have to do this myself. Vatican say, I have to do this myself. I will conquer Zion, send down Mussolini and him friend them, and we know how that turned out. The line of the tribe of Judah shall prevail. So His Majesty prevailed, and then we get the world tour, the successive tours, the Majesty going to the nations, building ties of fraternal bonds, spreading peace on earth, collective security, the sound, goodwill, and leaving some warnings about, essentially telling the nations, disarmament, beat your swords into plowshares. The nations disregarded that, and we're now again on the path to war. And these were the things that the United Nations was put in place to stop. We also just had the BRICS meeting in Kazan. For those who are not familiar, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Iran, That's BRICS plus. And then they just added 13 partner countries, including Nigeria, Uganda. So this is a growing grouping, political grouping, economic grouping, looking at alternatives to the West. So, when we look at the conflicts, you're seeing that it's the G7 nations, which is Europe, the European Union, America, Canada, Japan, South Korea, um, the West, collective West, you know, in the G7, Australia, what I mean, on one side, and then we see the BRICS countries on the other side of all these different conflicts, whether they're proxy wars, whatever's happening. So we see the chessboard, the lines are drawn again. I can't go too deep into, spiritually what's happening. I'm gonna start doing some more of that type of content on Patreon. But I thought today, as we prepare for the coronation season, part of our job as Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media is to sound the trumpet and to remind the global family this is a preparation time, because this war, yes, they're managing the escalation ladder, but know that the ladder is going to continue to rise. It's going to plunge the earth into a level of darkness, because when they start hitting the oil installations, the fuel, Straits of Hormuz closed down. We did an episode where we talk about that. It's going to have major ramification, de-dollarization, the collapse of the US dollar. There's certain things that are being maneuvered on the chessboard that we as Rastafari have to prepare. We can't be naive or think that we're immune because we're Rastafari, better than everyone, and we all right because we know His Majesty. We can know His Majesty and still be in a judgment if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean? If you're not, and there's no collective plan or strategy to endure, because food have to eat, and if you don't have access to food, it don't matter where you name. You know what I mean? So this is why we preach food security, farming, agriculture, all these things on this platform. And this is why we're working in these areas, But I want to, again, I want to just go on this episode. Let us review the prophecy of Yeshua, see if we can see the parallels where this thing is going. If it makes sense, if it don't make sense, we can comment down in the comments. But again, Ethiopia to I is the guiding light. His Majesty is the lawgiver, and the lawgiver is the defender of the faith of Yeshua, and has also pointed us that this, that His glory is in the Bible, and that this, shall be a rallying point for humanity. So as this global war unfolds, we return to the pages of the prophecy. That don't mean that we don't read other books. That don't mean that we not deal with Kemet Kush. We not deal with, the Sumar, Acadia, all these Asian civilizations. Whether you call it the Watchers down in the Book of Enoch, the Anunnaki, going to the Sumerian text, the angel, because one of the things is that Yeshua taught about the angel, which would be the Watchers in the Book of Enoch, or the Anunnaki in the Sumerian text. So, Yeshua bring everything forward, because Yeshua is a man who deal with the prophecy, the ancient scrolls, trod the earth. If you look at history of Yeshua, grew up in Kemet, all of these things, really taking the knowledge from the mystery schools, bringing it down to the fisherman, the regular people. We're going to do some sound on Yeshua. I'm lining up a reason with Brother Carl. He's a man who love Yeshua to him heart, So, and a lot of the 12 tribe brethren and sisters champion Yeshua. So we're going to definitely have more reasonings on Yeshua as we get into this prophetic time, because of all of the prophets. I remember in Islam, Yeshua, they call him Isa. And to Islam, he's a prophet. You know what I mean? A great prophet. So be it. Them say, you know, when him utter. So Yeshua is definitely someone that we need to take close, because a lot of I, you know, fall into this bun Jesus, and then that you don't really look at the actual substance of what this Imper was saying. I have no doubt that Yeshua was real and walked the earth. Why? Because of the word. You know, you can look at the historical record pre Yeshua, and then you look at the impact after. There's something that emerged, you know what I mean? The eye that came and changed the whole face and trajectory of the earth. You know, to me, that is evidence of the arrival. And when you read the sound with the man utter, it's natural. It's simple. It's I and I. You know, it's I. Same one. You know what I mean? And when you are I, you can know I when I utter. You know what I mean? So when you read the utterance, it's just I. Same when we read the speech of His Majesty, it's I, same way, you know? So it's just one I from that time to this time, henceforth, even forever. So before we get into, and I'm going to read from Matthew 24, go through it, which is one of the prophecies of the end time enough ones read. And I think is important because I see the repatriation in there, you know what I mean, and some clear instructions. But before we go into Matthew 24 and the prophecy, let me just take the time to big up the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. Big up the Lion Pride, 11,000 strong on the platform. I really give thanks. Remember, though, this is just one aspect when you subscribe. Make sure you visit either the website or visit us on Patreon. You can become a free member on Patreon, or you can make sure that we have your email on the website so that we can add you to the newsletter. A lot of the information, everything that we're doing within the ecosystem, that's the best way. If we get kicked off of YouTube or we get kicked off a next platform, we have a direct contact. This is not going to stop. We're building the RasTafari independent media infrastructure. So make sure you tap in. These are dreadful times that we're living in. We're watching the whole thing unfold, but we have to have our own voice, our own story. So make sure you tap in, again, either to the website or the Patreon. You can become a free member. However, I have to big up the economic engine of this whole machinery, which is the Lion Pride on Patreon. Big up all of the Lion Pride on Patreon. I just recently met one of our Lion Pride on Patreon, Sister Joan Sparks. Blessing to meet the eye. It was such a joy. We met at Mama Thea, who we've interviewed on this platform, chemical engineer at her Earth Strong. And I tell you what a joy. Sister Joan, give thanks for the eye support. And I love when I get to meet the Lion Pride in real life. Just these things are new to I. Remember, I'm just building the platform. I've been advising people about building your ecosystem, connecting with your audience directly. So I'm just implementing what I've been telling one. So it's new to I too, you know, even though you know the theory, doing the practice and, you know, having the ones come up and say, yeah, man, watch the platform and give thanks and don't stop what you're doing. So all of that is very humbling. But big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. We're trying to reach 100 by January 1st. We're at 20 right now. So please, you know, we're 1/5 of the way there. We need all of the item strength. I know that the core of this platform is about 100 impulse. So I'm not talking to the casual viewers, you know, the Watch and Peep, Lion Pride, even the Action Lion Pride. Big up yourself, those who comment, like and share. Those are the Action Lion Pride. But I'm talking to the core, you know, that watch all of the content, that love, that know the little inside joke them and know the vibes and everything. Consider supporting financially. Yes, I know it's a struggle. Yes, I know we're headed for hyperinflation and things, but let us invest in ourselves, our uprising, our media, you know, um, because the more that we can build this platform, the more cohesive I will be. We are using this platform to bring that unity, that unification, to break down the barrier between Trinidad Rastafari community and Jamaica. And I want to big up the Trinidad 12 tribe of Israel, massive. I think 40 brethren and sisters made the trip to Ethiopia. I think 20 are planning to stay in the country. So, you know, things are happening. And again, we're going to go into the prophecy. The gathering, the great return is underway. And we want to be able to bring that fullness to the Rastafari family from a Rastafari perspective here on the Lion Voice Network. So invest so that we can do that to the highest degree, world class standard. Even considering becoming a mission support, that's only $5 a month where you would have spent on a cup of coffee every 30 days. You know what I mean? We're encouraging ones to come in at the $10 level. 1,000 people, $10 a year give you a sustainable income. You know what I mean? That we can hire staff, do what we have to do, and start to be at least full time dealing with the media, which is our goal, and which is what I counsel for content creators and creatives who are trying to build their ecosystem, is having that core audience of 1,000 is what I consider a mature audience. We're going to be doing a lot of deep dive content on the Patreon. I've been focusing. We have the Purpose Over Pum Pum course. A lot of brethren in particular just out here without no direction. You see all of this happening, war unfolding, the prices rising. You can feel helpless. So we want to create a framework so that brethren, no matter what your age, can get on the purpose, have that guidance. Like in Babylon, they would call it a mentor. In Ethiopia, we call it a jegna. Having that guide, I can serve as that. You know what I mean? And again, I know that not everyone can afford the creative consultation and these things. So I'm putting it in the Patreon. So, for as little as $5 an hour, you can have access to at least a level. And then we're going to be releasing a full course with workbook, everything. Purpose Over Pum Pum, helping you to get on your purpose, identify your queen, your helpmate, put yourself in place, because this Armageddon that's coming, it's going to be the family man that survived, the families. The lone lion, me feel sorry for the item right now in Armageddon. I would not want to be on the street looking for love when the thing gets so dreadful, because everything's skewed, everything thrown into survival mode. You're in survival mode. I'm trying to vet daughters or brethren. I wouldn't want to be in that position. So now is the time. Get on your purpose, identify your helpmate, and hold your position, hold the line. So we're going to be helping ones to do that in the Patreon with a deep dive. And then we're also going to be doing the creative ecosystem course, where we help you. You see what I'm doing here. We've created an income stream from the Lion Voice Network, a steady income stream. We're going to teach everyone how to do it within your creative sphere, all of the things, the back end, the forward end, in terms of the administration, all of the different components, setting up. This is just the forward facing part of the ecosystem. We are, again, doing other things, collecting the emails, the newsletters, the this, the that. We lay out everything. We're going to lay out everything in a course, because we want our creatives to be sustainable. It's not just doing the creative. Yes, you have the passion and you're doing it, but it should make financial sense. And your audience, you don't have to get vexed if your parents, and big up my mother because she said she's going to join the Patreon. Big up, mommy. But if your family is not supporting your friends, don't get vexed at your friends and family. They may not be your audience, but there are over 1 billion people on the World Wide Web, and I need to leverage that access to find that 1,000. That 1,000 seem like a lot, but if you're going for 1,000 out of a billion or 2 or 3 or 4 billion people who are online, then it's a drop in the bucket. It becomes more realistic, and especially with analytics and targeting, marketing and sales using the internet, and it's not like one time where you have to have thousands and thousands of dollars to market your thing. It's just, you can do it with 10, 20, 50, 30, $50. So all of that we're going to be talking about on the creative ecosystem course, breaking it down. So look out for that. But all of that's going to be on Patreon. So we're trying to add the value. So I'm not just telling the 100 people to go in there. We're going to add value to the ones them, so that you can sharpen and prepare for what is to come. Now, first thing we're going to release is a deep dive on purpose, identifying your purpose. What is that? What does that look like? All of that purpose. So look out for that in the next few days. Also, as I said, the first 100 people we're going to memorialize. We're going to store that, take a picture, and when we build out the physical studio for the Lion Voice Network, you will be immortalized on that. So be part of history. Remember, for those who have been here since before we hit 100 subscribers, we came with the same confidence, and we're over 11,000. It's just going to continue. And remember, the growth is not linear. It's going to be exponential. There'll be periods of great growth where we go from 10 to 100 in a month, maybe. You know what I mean? That is the nature of content creation. It's not necessarily linear. Sometimes we can plateau for a year, we don't move. You know what I mean? And then it spikes. So it's consistency. It's really consistency, being steady, and building that relationship with the audience, which is why I encourage the Lion Pride. Comment down in the comments. Let us know where you're calling from. We want a vibrant ecosystem and community as we watch this global Armageddon unfold. And again, we'll be doing the deep dives on the geopolitics, on the Patreon, and the prophecy. But we're going to touch a little bit right now. This is from Matthew 24. So housekeeping out of the way. Let me just drink from my Ramia King Design LIDJ. Big up yourself. Drink my water. We should be getting a shipment of CMOS live. Big up RasTafari, next sponsor. Virgin also did the logo, graphic design. We'll have a commercial so the item can get your branding, all of that. One of the greatest when it come on to RasTafari graphics, and your look and feel so key. And eventually Lion Voice Network will have a different website than the Dejazmatch website. We're gonna build that out. I'm gonna go to the brethren to build out that website, you know what I mean? Cause the brethren as a gift, you know what I mean? So big up RasTafari, graphics and design, Money Kings Entertainment. Alright, so housekeeping out of the way, let's go to the prophecy. We're reading from Matthew 24 in the New Testament. This is the words attributed to Yeshua, prophecy. Serious thing. And where it says Jesus in this Bible, and I'm reading from the item can see as a reading Ras. This is the African Heritage Bible. This was compiled by Dr. Kane Hopefelder, who was a scholar, researcher, Howard School of Divinity, was one of my teachers. When I was coming into my fullness, I went up to the School of Divinity and got check him because I heard of him, because he was talking about the African origins of the Bible. Sat up in his office many times, tell me about his research in Jerusalem, through Palestine, archaeological digs. He put together this book with the Hebrew Israelites. So it's a Bible that's annotated, that tell you, everywhere there's an African presence and historical facts, break down when it mentions different tribes, it tells you, their origins, if they're African people or not. So this is the prophecy book that I use. Again, I'm different. Some man born the Bible. I've talked to man with dip on the ground and have done the studies. Um, Dr. Kano Fell is no longer with us anymore, but great man, you know what I mean? And I've talked to other um, scholars who have done the work and conclusively, would tell you about the Hebrews were Africans, you know what I mean? Straight up and down. So we want to, again, read Matthew 24, the destruction coming. And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now he's talking about the Temple of Solomon, he's talking about Jerusalem and the way Israel are chuck badness right now and the amount of missile armed against him. It's not out of a reasonable projection to say that when this war finished that Israel will be in rubble. You know what I mean? It's not out of the realm of possibility. The man saying not one stone. You know what I mean? So these are things. Anyway, him continue say, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And when I say end of the world, we don't mean earth being destroyed, we mean the end of this dispensation of the world, this colonial domination, which remember Yeshua is under the same Roman Empire domination, same way, European domination over African nation. This was scramble for Africa before, modern scramble. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And this is why, we hail His Majesty. His Majesty never come and say He's Yeshua. You know what I mean? He tell people, I am not Yeshua. You know what I mean? His Majesty is His Majesty. And this is how we know is the people give Him that acknowledgement as the Father, the anointing as the Christ, the highest of Himself. His Majesty never exalts Himself. He come as a servant of Yeshua. The Father glorify the Son glorify the Father. These are the things we love. And He said, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And this is what we're saying. So all this back and forth, don't expect this to be a short war, dramatic. It's tit for tat. Armageddon, I keep hearing this song, the war of attrition. Meaning it's a long, grinding war. That's why we have to prepare, because this thing is not going to be short. It could last a decade. Darkness upon the earth and back and forth and this and that. So again, we need to be wise. This is the trumpet we're sounding for the Rastafari Pan-African family. Those who feel this is foolishness, probably this is not the episode for the item. You know what I mean? And that's fine. We don't have to agree on everything. For those who hold to the prophetic tradition within Farai and who take Yeshua serious, I'm saying preparation time. The man show us certain things. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. All them things that go on. And these are the beginning of sorry. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So again, long protracted conflict. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. This is what happened to African people, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because of iniquity, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, cold hard. You see it. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall come, and then shall the end come. Now listen to this part now. This is the repatriation start now. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, who read it, let them understand. Stand in the holy place. So he's saying to take away yourself and go to a holy place. That is what it's saying. And then it says, whoso read it, let him overstand. So, yeah, just we're making one sip it up, Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. So this is the I telling you, you don't want to be in the cities during this hour. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. This is the darkness. But pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor shall ever be. You can imagine when they lick down all of the global oil and all of these things in this tit for tat, and the thing is plunged into darkness. People get desperate. People not so patient like one time, so panic and this and that. Where do you want to be when this is happening? In a place that completely unprepared, or in Mama Africa where people used to power outage and people know people in a country, woolly performers, debout, and we make a way because we've been through the worst. We've been going through it. Or you want to be in these overly developed countries that have no clue, but they're full of firearms. I'm asking these questions. We're not going to go deep because, again, I don't want to get censored by YouTube. But I'm just asking the family these questions. As Rastafari, can we reason? We're a Rastafari platform, so we have to ask. And except those days shall be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. We give thanks for the mercy. Then, if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is the Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall rise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in a secret chambers, believe it not. For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also be the coming of the Son of Man be. For whosoever the carcass is, there will be eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. The stars shall fall from heaven. The powers of the heaven shall be shaken. So, all kind of ways to um, interpret that, But falling stars, the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. These are the unseen ones who control things, will fall. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. International black repatriation calling. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When its branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that the summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it's near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things have been fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. You know, heaven and earth shall pass away before one another word shall pass away. Before the word shall pass away. We know the Bingy chant. And it's coronation season, so them chant, they go chant. But this is the works of the prophecy. I don't know. Is it matching to what we see? Let us have the reasoning. If it's foolishness, again, we can agree to disagree. This unity doesn't require that we all, deal with the biblical pathway. I deal with the teachings of His Majesty. I didn't grow up in the church. So I'm pointed to the Bible by His Majesty. And this is, to I, very analogous or very online with what I'm reading from Yeshua, what I'm seeing, and what I take away, which is most important, and what I want to share with the audience that we are growing and we are putting together, is let us use right now as a time of preparation. If you're a lone lion or lioness, join an organization, reach out, time to kind of formalize, loosey-goosey time done. Let us come together. Let's start to pool resources, economics. Let us put plans in place. Let us deal with the self-reliance. These are all things, we're preaching to the choir. So I know in terms of the core, everyone know. We've been saying these things for decades. Now I think we need to redouble our effort, heal from the trauma, come together, and do what we have been called to do by this great tradition. So let I know if I'm on point. Again, Israel just bombed Iran. Iran said they're most likely going to respond. We don't know the damage yet. This is fresh. But again, the escalation ladder continues. We're watching the global chessboard, and we are asking the question to the Rastafari family: what are we doing? We're not getting into the politics because we don't know where it's going. I said it already. We're not fooled by the lulls and the up and the downs. We know where the escalation ladder leads, and that is darkness. So what are we doing? Are we prepared? Are we on track? We're asking the question. Let us have the reasoning. We're building in the Patreon. We're building on the platform. We're building off of the platform. All of these things. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak, and caused all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order, them start bleaching. Diverse doctrine, them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching. They're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. I feel work hard, harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order, them pan cell phone. Families don't even talk in their home. Village farmers get murdered by drones. Village mistress get murdered by stones. New world, so you better call Tyrone. Tell him prepare to use the whole earth a war zone. New world, Satan lost for the throne, so we must exit us and leave him alone.